Hello, this is Marcus from Revelead.com, and in this short video I want to show you how you can make some money. And this is sort of a long-term method that will definitely get you to a point where you are making, on average, a couple $100s a day if you do this right. And this is through what I call expired domain names. Now, expired domain names are exactly what GoDaddy says right here. Once a domain name expires, it goes through many stages before being released to the open market. And for the most part, these domain names, they either go, they go to the market. They're either through the auction, or depending upon the registrar. GoDaddy has their own policy, but some it just goes directly, so it's free again. So somebody could purchase it. Like if you went to if you went to GoDaddy.com and you were trying to register a domain name, let's just say example.com. This is probably a very poor example, but you have example.com that is obviously not available. But if the current owner decided not to renew it every single year, because every single year domain names need to be renewed, and so the price is generally about $12 to $16 or so to renew a .com domain name, and these are really the ones that are high value. And so what you would end up doing is this would go and this would become free, or it'd go to the auction. Because if it is on GoDaddy or another one with a similar policy, it would go through an auction, and so it'd probably be sold for a lot of money because this is a very, very valuable domain name. But if it's a regular one, if it does have potential, it's been around for a while, then you go on this and you'd be able to renew it. You'd be able to buy it. And so if you went to a site called like domaintools.com, you would be able to see if these domain names, you'd be able to see their current owners. Like if you went to domaintools.com / whatever the domain name is, you would be able to see sort of what the ownership of these particular domain names. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because domain names that have been around for 10 to 12 to 13 years and even more can be very, very valuable. If you think about it, if it's difficult to register a domain name now, think about if one has been owned for 13 years and it recently expired. Somebody decided not to renew it. I don't know why they would, and it's free and you have ownership. You could buy that. That means you pretty much just bought a domain name and you've had it for 13 years. And back then, that's when the very, very valuable domain names were available, and so it's something to keep in mind, because I have a website that I want to show you. This isn't my website. This is one of the websites that I've used in the past. That is, it's brought. I've made. I've not really put this method into 100% action. I haven't really spent as much time as I should. But this website, I've been able to, when I was when I was very active within this, I was buying domain names, probably about 5 to 15 domain names a day, and these were those that expired, maybe in 2000, 2002, somewhere within that range, that seemed to have a little bit more value, and so I was able to buy these for like $5 to $12, on GoDaddy. Just depending on the coupons. And just to keep this in mind, if you were ever trying to buy domain names, I would always type in, if you're using GoDaddy, then type in GoDaddy coupon and whatever kind of extension. And obviously you want to go for coms. You want to go to .coms. These .coms have the most value, and they always will. You really shouldn't go for the .nets or the .orgs. Unless it's it's a nonprofit site, or the value goes down dramatically. For example, I have a website called, if you go right up here, it's called Google.org. It's worth, I believe, about $1,000. Guess how much you think the .com's worth? I'll give you an example. If you go to valuate.com and there's two websites where you can get free professional appraisals for your domain names. They cost nothing. But you can only do it about 4 times a day, unless you use like their premium price. But I use these occasionally. These are not the most accurate, but these, well, actually, these pretty much are before you get into manual appraisal, and that's worth a lot more when people see that, when you're selling big time domain names. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about that. But let's just say I wanted to put, let's just say example.com. Let's do example.com real quick. And I'll show you goal.com too, so you can see the difference. See, that's about $250,000. I mean, a third of a million, example.com. Now, is that 100% accurate? It really just depends. If the needs, I mean, I've seen domain names like sushi.com, and I think food.com sell for $500,000. So I mean, it really, this is sort of what I'm saying about domain names can be very, very valuable. It may not seem like they can, but they are. I mean, this is where most of the business now. I mean, it's increasing so much more, where it's all online. But you know, real quickly, let's do Google.com. And I said before it's probably $1,000 for the oh crap, no, my bad, dang it. Yeah, see, it's close to $1,000 for that, but it's crap. I keep going back there. Let's do the .com. And I actually got Google.org. Oh, I guess not. I guess it's not working right now. But come on, 20,000. So you see the huge difference in that. That's why you always want to go for .coms. Now, I said, you know, coupons. We go to Retail Me Not. If you just type in Retail Me Not, GoDaddy, that's generally what I like to use. And so there are a couple of places where you can get very cheap domain names for like $1, $2. And you could sell these, I'm not kidding, you can sell these for $80 to a couple $100. It really depends on the domain names. I want to share a couple of methods with you. I mean, a couple of approaches that I like to go with. I like to use this website. I'm not going to go into it, at least not in this video, but I like to search for just deleted.com names, and I like to search only for today because there's a filter in there where you could search, you know, up to 30 days. And I also like to look at the oldest domain names, and then I like to look for the domain names with the least amount of characters. You know, these 5 digit or 5 character domain names, because those generally sell for a lot more, and they're increasing their value over time too. I mean, they could be, if you could find one that's that actually makes sense, sounds very brandable, then you could sell for a lot of money. Some of these that drop are worth thousands of dollars, and especially if you have a company. I've done this about 5 times already. If you have a company out there that has a domain, I mean, like you know, their name matches your domain name. So let's just say you had a company called, let's just say there's a company out there called ABC Corp. I know that sounds very ridiculous. So there's ABC Corp. Let's just say they have a website called abccorp.net. They were never able to own the .com because somebody owned the .com way before, because, you know, this sounds like a really catchy name. You could literally, if this dropped and you own the .com, you can send these guys a message, the .net, and say, hey, I've had this domain name for quite some time. I'm willing to sell it to you for $500, $1,000. I mean, this is their company name, and you let them know that, you know what, your past clients, you know, they of course remember the .net, but your new clients, your prospective clients, they will not remember this. Most of the time, they're just going to automatically type in a .com. It's going to go directly to there. So I don't do this research before. I mean, it's throughout this process. When I'm looking at domain names, if they sound like company names, then I grab them and I do a search on Google. And I may go on Estabot, which is exactly like Valuate. Valuate, the website I showed you earlier. If the domain names sound, if they look like they're very valuable, you know, if they just sound and everything, you know, everything seems right, then I may do a search here. But I also, you know, I'm making this a little bit longer than I need to. I think we're at 9 minutes now. Yeah, it's a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. But anyway, to close this up, there's a website called Web Archives, and this website will show you. This will let you know if it has an archive. I mean, if it actually has been indexed within the Web Archives. And the Web Archives, it's just a database. It's a website that shows you the progress of your website. It doesn't really make that much sense, but pretty much you're able to view your website if it's ever been on Google for the most part. It's sort of popular, well, it doesn't have to be that popular actually. It just needs to get indexed within this website. You would be able to view it in the archives. And you know what this means is if you had ABC company, or you had a website that was very specific, a specific keyword phrase, you know, like water damage, X, or whatever, what kind of service you're looking for, and that actually had an it actually was listed within the web archives, then you would be able to even take the content. I'm not saying it's probably the best way to go, but you could literally take the content from when it was archived. You see, this is back into that 1998, and so that you're able to see Google in 1998 now because it's been indexed within the site. And for example, you know, if I had mine, this is a new website. I'm going to give you an example. This is just a local website, and I'm going to show you that this even indexes on the web archives. So if I go to Go right here, and I've never done this before, so I'm assuming that it's going to be indexed unless I have robots that you know, that disable. I mean, if I'm disabling all my I've just prevent any access. You know, there's some websites that do that. Sorry about the delay, but yeah, do you see this? That's the latest they have for just the non.com. I mean, the non-www in March. So, but this is something to keep in mind. I don't want to get too extensive. You know, I don't want to get too much into this. But I would encourage you to go on this website and start looking at domain names every single day. You know, first make a habit. Don't buy anything yet. I know you're going to really feel prompted to, but you know, spend a couple of weeks, go every single day. There's a specific time that these launch, that these get released. I don't know if they don't mention it anymore, but I think it's about 11 o'clock, you know, Mountain Standard Time. So I mean, it's probably I think it's very consistent that they get released to the public, so you're able to see that. So I would really set those, you know, the time period aside every single day and be very consistent, so that you're able to see patterns. It's sort of like the stock market a little bit. But I want to let you know, you know, as far as a testimonial, I've probably bought over 250 domain names off this site, and I've sold most of them. A great percentage of them, and I'd buy them for maybe $5 to $13, and from there I would sell them. I would go on Sea-Doo. You may be wondering where you go and sell them. You could sell them on Sea-Doo.com completely free. I mean, like it costs nothing to list them whatsoever. You just list your domain names. You list them instantly, and when they sell, they take a small percentage. They take if you sell them for $80, they take like $8. And you just made what? You made I'm going to take into consideration you probably put $10 into that, so you have 18, you're making about $62 off that investment. That's a huge percentage increase off almost any other sort of market that you can even think about. So if you bought these in bulk, well, I'm not saying to go in bulk, you're going to actually have to do the work and get about 15 good solid domain names daily. But if you do that consistently throughout the year, I mean, I could eventually see you selling 4, 5, 6 of those a day. I mean, just think about that. So I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to leave below. Thank you.